I think a lot of people struggle with debt because, one, we're so afraid to look at it. I think that's the number one hurdle that we actually really have to get past. But I also think that a lot of the time when we carry debt, we feel stuck. Almost like we want to pursue and tackle other areas of our lives, but we can't because we're carrying debt on our shoulders. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle with it. But plus, people don't really even know where to start with their debt. They have so much. There's so many different kinds. They have so much going on. And just that initial step of where do I even start? For me, it was trial and error, right? Getting it down in front of my face was probably the most important step on my journey. Getting over that fear, getting it down on a piece of paper in front of my face, and truly being aware of it and wanting to tackle it. But I think also there is so much information on paying off debt, you get overwhelmed. You get pulled in 10,000 different directions. Should you do this? Should you start an emergency fund first? What debt should you pay off first? Should you tackle the highest interest rate, the lowest balance? And so it comes down to really asking yourself what's going to motivate you on your debt payoff journey. For me, I was motivated by knowing I was going to save the most interest over the long run or the life of my debt. So I used the avalanche method. If you're going to be more motivated by seeing those debt disappear quicker, meaning you would pay off the smallest balances first. You see signs of progress and success early on in your debt payoff journey, and then you get to the very last debt, which is your high debt balances. And so I think those are the things, but also it's really hard to feel hope when you're dealing with a lot of debt. I mean, it's almost like this is impossible. There's no way I can do this. And so I think realizing and looking at the bigger picture and really going after and fighting for what you want for your future is really important as well. Debt is pretty normal. It's funny now, I mean, we rely on it for so many reasons, sometimes even if we don't need it. And I think another thing that scares people into using debt is the fact that they think it's going to wreak havoc on their credit report. I get so many questions that people say, well, Miko, you're 100% debt-free. You're buying your house with cash. You will literally have no debt. So how do you expect to have a great credit score? And my credit score isn't great. I think the last time I checked, it was like 816. But I've never been truly worried about my credit score getting any lower or it decreasing over time. If you are worried about saying no, having no debt footprint, I know I will never use debt again, and so for me, it's not that big of a worry. But I would essentially say when you pay off your debt and you're ready to be disciplined enough to pay off a credit card every single month, start with just using a credit card for gas. Pay it off every month. Give that card a specific purpose. Now, I do have some readers that use rewards cards, and you can eventually get to that point where you can put all of your monthly expenses on a credit card and pay it off every month if that's the route that you choose. I'm always going to be dedicated to cash just because it's something that just had this huge significant impact in my life, and that's, I think, what I'll always end up doing. No, so I'm very different in that thought. So I don't think all debt is bad. I think, hey, if you can travel the world for free using your credit rewards, like go for it all day long. I think when debt gets bad is when you don't realize you're ready to use the debt. I think using credit cards is okay for some people. It's not okay for me. And I'm willing to be honest with myself and say that out loud. Miko, I should not have credit cards. I just shouldn't. I just paid off my debt last year and I just still don't trust myself with them. I'm one of the type of people where it's like, oh, I'll just pay it off later, and then I don't. So I know that about myself. And so that's where you have to be very honest with yourself if you can handle and be disciplined enough to have debt and to use it. I also don't think having a mortgage is bad debt. I think that if you're using debt irresponsibly, it's bad debt. But if you're being disciplined and you can pay it off, and something is, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there in this world who cannot afford to buy a house in cash or even a car in cash. That is the reality. So I don't necessarily think all debt is bad. Yeah, making the decision to buy my first house with cash was probably one of the hardest financial decisions I had to make on my journey. I was getting pulled between I can have it right now if I finance it and I can have my dream house, or I can be a patient spender and really follow my heart on what I believe is right for me. So I decided to not finance my house and use cash instead is because, one, I knew it was a goal that I could achieve. But two, it opened up so many doors and possibilities for my future. When I think about the life that I want with my son, having a mortgage was not in that picture. And there's a couple different reasons for that. One, I'm self-employed. And I just left my full-time job back in May to run the Budget Mom full-time. Honestly, having a mortgage payment, a huge mortgage payment hanging over my head was absolutely terrifying, where it kept me up at night thinking about it. And also, I have the chance to retire early. There are a lot of doors that were open when I made this decision for my future and for my son as well, and in the life that I really wanted with him. And so I think sometimes that financial decisions shouldn't always just be about the numbers. You have to feel at peace with the decisions that you're making for you and your family, and only for you and your family. Because without that peace of mind, without that confidence in the decisions you're making with your money, you're never going to feel successful with it. No. Getting out of debt sucks, and it's hard. And I mean, it's daunting and it's frustrating. And it's happiness, and it's tears of joy, and it's frustration, and it's moments where you're stronger than you ever thought you would be. Getting out of debt is a journey. It's ups and downs, and it's triumphs and it's failures. And I think that anyone who starts a debt-free journey, I want them to know a debt-free journey and paying off your debt is not about making debt payments. It is not. A debt journey and paying off your debt is a self-discovery journey. You will learn more about yourself paying off your debt than I think a lot of other journeys might take you. And for me, I really got to know myself because you're forced to ask the hard questions. It's like paying off debt becomes so important to you, where you are forced to make decisions and to truly give yourself honest answers about where you are and why you're spending money that you know you don't have. So is paying off debt hard? Absolutely. Probably one of the hardest things I ever did, but it's so worth it.